Apologies for absence. We have one, I believe. Javeria Hussain. Okay, it's not here tonight. Yeah. Minutes of the meeting held on the 20th of May. Can I sign them as a true record? Is that okay with everyone? Thank you. Remind members of Section 106 agreements. Declarations of interest. Have we any declarations of interest, James?
Yeah, I'll declare an interest as Director of Luton Rising in the agenda item. I'll forget the number when it comes up.
And business not covered by the current forward plan. We haven't any. Nothing of any special urgency. But we do have 2 references from scrutiny, which we'll take under the private section of the report. We have no recommendations from scrutiny review and no petitions. So I move on to the business items. Number 8, which is mine first off, and this is a report that looks to approve changes to the outside bodies with immediate effect, and there's a list of recommendations for change that I would ask members to support. Happy to try and answer if there's anybody's got any questions, but they seem pretty straightforward to me. Are they agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. Now move on to item 9, and this is a report regarding the establishment of a member-led executive advisory group on extremism, and I'm very pleased to move this. If you remember, we used to have a member prevent engagement group, and we decided to change that last year, and it's taken a while to get this through the system. So I'm very pleased to bring this group to members. It will be chaired by myself, and we'll have cross-party membership. Will act as a formal mechanism for elected members to engage with Luton's prevent and counter extremism work as it gradually evolves. Its purpose is to strengthen the political awareness of shifting the prevent policy and provide a strategic oversight and ensure members are fully briefed on local and national risks, including emerging threats such as increasing online radicalisation, etc. Through this approach, members will play an active role in shaping Luton's prevent and counter extremism programme, ensuring it reflects local risks and community concerns. The committee will meet on a bi-monthly basis with officer support provided by the Prevent Manager, and will act as a conduit for dialogue between local members, community and partners, and the Home Office. There is a detailed terms of reference provided at Appendix A. It does need a slight amendment though, as you will notice that Councillor Lovell's name has been missed off the terms of reference, and it needs an additional membership allocated in there. So that we will send that round members once that's amended tonight. I'll answer as many questions as I can, but this is really to set up a more formal structure. So I'm hoping that members will support this evening. Are there any questions? Members happy to support? Oh, yes, David.
Just to say, Hazel, Angie will be in touch with Angela with names for the Liberal Democrat representatives.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'll do the same for the Labour group, as I say today. Is everybody happy to agree the establishment of this? Thank you very much. Thank you. We now move on to item 10, and over to Rob, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This is the LBC Corporate Performance Report year in 24-25. I'm just going to give a summary of the highlights. The number of homeless relief has exceeded the target. The number of cases prevented from becoming homeless year-end figure has exceeded the target. The number of affordable homes started on site year-end is 70, which meets the annual target of 50. Number of affordable homes now completed has reached the target. Complaints relative to the size of the landlord, stage 1 and stage 2, both meet their respective targets. Percentage of possible discharges within timescale. Social care assessments completed within 42-day figure is above target. Amount awarded with the household support grant is within target levels. Percentage of housing stat compliance completed within timescales are all within target levels. Percentage of people referred who need no or reduced care support following period reablement is on target. Number of London Luton Airport passengers year-end figure was 16.99 million is on target for 17 million. Timeliness of benefits, new claims and changes are both within target levels. Timeliness of council tax reduction, new claims and changes are on target. Council tax billing, percentage of work outstanding over 20 days year end is on target. Adult social care financial assessments, debt recovery is on target. Adult social care financial assessments, timeline to process charges figure is above target. Number supported or amount awarded with discretionary housing payments is within target levels. Amount of council tax collected is within target. Total business rates due and total business rates collected is within target. Employment in Luton, number of jobs meets the 1% increase target. Percentage of attendance in state-funded primary and secondary schools are both on target. Percentage of children attending good and outstanding schools, primary and secondary and special, including looked after children, are all on target. The Ofsted ratings for schools are for graded inspections for inspections undertaken before September 2024. Since September 2024, schools do not receive an overall judgment. Therefore, there are no updates to this information from September 2024 onwards. The service will change the measure following the publication of the new Ofsted framework. Number of children subject to a child protection plan is on target. Number of children looked after is within target. Attainment for Key Stage 2 reading, writing as expected figure is on target. Attainment for Key Stage 4 maths and English level is on target. Scope 2 corporate buildings electricity figure has met the 9% decrease target for TCO2. Scope 3 goods and services 2022-23 figure has met the 9% decrease target. Percentage of corporate stats compliance completed within timescales are all on target. Employees and senior employees of ethnic minority background as a percentage of our workforce aiming to reflect our community's year-end figures have both reached target levels. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Happy to agree? Oh, sorry, David.
Thank you, Chair. Just thank you for the report, Councillor Roach. Just a couple of questions. On the school attainment figures on page 24. Is it 24? Page 24, page 42, attainment, so it figures 45% is on target of 45.9%. That looks to me a bit low. Is that the standard? I'm looking at if you guys can answer that. So, page 42, is that the standard? Because that looks pretty low, 45 for attainment figure. Does that need to be revised?
Sorry, Councillor.
So page
I'm looking
42,
on page 42, yeah.
24, the very top, attainment KS4 maths and English level of 5. Where a figure of 45 is on target, 45.9%. That looks a bit low. Maybe that figure needs revising because we should be aiming for better than 50%.
We'll take that back for advisement and bring back to you.
Okay, thank you. And one other thing was on page 55. One of the things is, despite all our efforts, the town centre, vibrancy town centre footfall has gone down after all the work. That sort of says that we've still got a long way. I'm glad to see that we're doing the town centre task of finish and all the additional work, but that was disappointing to read that. And on the Luton Airport, I'm glad that we're getting close to 17 million, which means we've still got 2 million more and hopefully we'll get the other 2 million that we have got planning permission to, and we'll achieve, you know, the full capacity. Thank you.
Thank you, Javed. Anyone else? No? Happy to agree the report? Thank you. Now move to item 11, Rob, and on to yourself.
Thank you. This is the Q1 Revenue and Capital Monitoring Report. The report sets out the forecast outturn position for the current year based on the results of Q1, April to June monitoring. The Provisional General Fund revenue forecast outturn for 25-26 indicates a projected overspend of 6.69 million against the approved revenue budget of 171.365 million. This position reflects the significant challenges that continue to affect local government finance, particularly in demand-led services such as social care, homelessness and children placements. Despite additional growth built into the 25-26 budget to reflect pressures identified last year, the first quarter has seen further increases in demand and costs. These pressures follow on from 24-25 outturn, much of which materialised after the February budget was set. Nationally, councils are experiencing similar difficulties, with a number issuing Section 114 notice. While government grant support has increased, it has largely been absorbed by pay awards, inflation and the rising cost of the national living wage. According to the Institute of Fiscal Studies, Luton continues to receive one of the lowest levels of public funding relative to need. The Fair Funding Review, due to conclude later this year, is expected to improve the distribution of resources to high-need, low-tax-based councils like Luton. However, it will not fully offset the scale of in-year demand, growth and inflationary pressures. The areas of key service pressures are children's services, forecast overspend of just over 3 million, driven by the high cost placements for children with complex needs, limited market availability and pressures in the SEND transport. Mitigation includes the Families First for Children Pathfinder programme, service redesign and new transport policy from September. Adult social care and wellbeing services forecast overspend of 2.16 million, reflecting demographic growth, transitions from children's services and rising care costs. Although 1.145 million of the department's deficit recovery plan has been achieved, demand continues to rise faster than funding. Mitigations include early intervention work, commission improvements and debt recovery measures. Inclusive growth forecast overspend 1.34 million, primarily due to exceptional costs at Buckle Close, 2.7 million, and income shortfalls within building and technical services. Other areas such as neighbourhood services have generated additional external income that partially offset these pressures. Mitigation includes additional external income generation in neighbourhood services and vacancy management. Chief Executive Department forecast overspend of 0.897 million, mainly in finance due to reliance on agency staff to cover vacancies. A review of the finance function is underway, as well as a permanent recruitment campaign. Housing and Customer Organisation Development forecast underspend of 0.95 million. Positive progress in temporary accommodation has reduced reliance on costly bed and breakfast placements, with Rutland Hall and Wenlock Court expected to contribute to this improvement. The Council has continued to deliver against its agreed deficit recovery plan alongside a transformation programme. The 25-26 budget included 10.7 million of savings, of which 9.6 million is currently forecast to be achieved. While most projects are progressing, risks remain in some areas and delivery will need close monitoring through the remainder of the year. The approved 25-26 capital programme totaled 244.8 million, which 177 million is a general fund and 67.8 million on the housing revenue account. At Q1, there is significant forecast slippage of 157.9 million, largely due to delays in major schemes, including the following. The stage, 28.1 million slipped, awaiting clearance from the building safety regulator. Temporary accommodation acquisitions, 24.5 slipped, although major purchases at Rutland Hall and Wenlock Court have been completed. Affordable housing scheme, 27.9 million slipped, much of it linked to the stage. Concerns have been raised about the robustness of some business cases and project governance. A detailed review is underway to strengthen oversight, cost control and financial insurance. Public health, no net overspend forecast pressures are being managed through reserves. Housing revenue account forecast an underspend of 0.423 million, with pressures in structural repairs offset by savings elsewhere. Trading account forecast an outturn at Q1 shows a surplus of 0.651 million, that is 0.157 higher than budget for Luton Trading Services and Schools Trading Services. Dedicated schools grant, high needs block continues to overspend with a 0.43 million gap after transfers requiring further use of reserves. The recommendations are in front of the Executive. Chair, thank you.
Okay, it's open for questions. Are there any questions from anybody? No questions? Yes, David.
Just an apology from me, Hazel. I'm aware that Rob and Dev Gopal have been working on a more readable version of presenting this report, and Dev very kindly sent me an example of how this might be achieved. The apologies, because I simply haven't had time to go through it.
Okay.
And it's not something I want to skim through. I want to look at it very carefully. So I promise them I will get round to it.
Okay.
Thank you, David. We
Yeah.
look forward to hearing from you anyway. Thank you.
Anybody else? No? Are you happy to agree the report? Thank you very much. Move on to item 12 and the Treasury Management Report.
This report provides a statutory review of the Council's Treasury Management activities for the financial year 24-25. It covers borrowing, investments and cash flow management and confirms that all operations were conducted in accordance with the Local Government Act 2003 and the CIPFA Prudential and Treasury Management Codes. The report also demonstrates full compliance with the Council's approved Treasury Management Strategy. Throughout the year, the Council maintained a strong and compliant Treasury position. All prudential indicators and statutory borrowing limits were adhered to, with no breaches recorded. At the end of the financial year, total debt stood at 785 million, 192 million below the Council's capital financing requirement. This confirms that the Council did not borrow in advance of need, reflecting prudent financial management. Actual capital expenditure during 24-25 was significantly lower than forecast. This was primarily due to the reprofiling of major capital schemes, including a temporary accommodation purchase scheme and planned investments in commercial properties, which have now been deferred to 25-26. This reprofiling has implications for future borrowing and delivery timelines, which will be closely monitored. The Council remained underborrowed by 191.7 million, continuing its strategy of using internal resources to reduce interest costs. External borrowing increased by 33 million to support approved capital projects. A key refinancing transaction with the Public Works Loan Boards secured 100 million in long-term borrowing, providing financial stability. In addition, selective short-term borrowing was used to manage cash flow efficiently and minimise the costs. Average investment balances during the year were 26 million, generating a return of 4.9%. This resulted in investment income of approximately 1.3 million. Investments were kept short-term and placed with approved counterparties, ensuring both liquidity and security. No liquidity issues were experienced during the year. Looking ahead, for the main risks relate to the affordability of borrowing and the successful delivery of the capital programme, much of which had been deferred to future years. While interest rates are expected to gradually decline, global economic uncertainty persists and gilt rates are still high. The Council's decision to lock in fixed-rate borrowing early in the year has helped mitigate potential future cost pressures. Continued close monitoring of capital schemes and Treasury activity will be essential. Recommendations are in front of the Executive. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? No questions from anyone? Okay, is the report agreed? Thank you very much. We now move on to item 13, which is the Economic Growth Strategy. James.
Thanks, Hazel. Following a year of intensive engagement, the Economic Growth Strategy presented today is a result of a genuine co-design and co-production with Luton's businesses, communities, young people and strategic partners. This has been a truly collaborative effort, ensuring the strategy is not only evidence-based and backed by robust data, but also deeply rooted in the lived experiences and ambitions of our town. The strategy is delivery ready, the action plan is live, the system is aligned. We must now seek your formal sign-off to move into delivery. Therefore, I ask the Executive to approve the Economic Growth Strategy for Luton, which is Appendix 1, Evidence-Based Report at Appendix 2, and the Action Plan at Appendix 3. The Live Action Plan is a dynamic tool with clear responsibilities, timelines and outcomes, and will be refreshed annually to reflect the evolving priorities and funding cycles. Progress will be tracked through a dedicated programme management system, enabling real-time monitoring, performance reporting and issue escalation. The plan will be updated throughout the year to respond to economic shifts, policy changes and new opportunities. Delivery is underpinned by a strong stakeholder collaboration, with partners actively involved in shaping and executing the work. Strategically, this plan is fully aligned with the Luton 2040 priorities and the government's industrial strategy to 2035. It also supports the cross-cutting themes including net zero, health, skills and housing. The strategy is a shared commitment to building a stronger, fairer and greener economy for Luton, with robust delivery mechanisms in place. Your approval today will unlock the next phase. We will move decisively into delivery mode to ensure Luton remains on track to achieve our 2040 ambitions. Therefore, I ask the Executive to formally approve Luton's new economic growth strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James. Are there any questions? Bassett?
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. I think fully supportive of this strategy. I think it's key to unlocking economic growth and productivity. It's a brilliant strategy. The only question I had was around persistence of economic inactivity. It remains stubbornly high. For women in Luton, it's twice that of the regional and national average. Just wondering if you could expand on what work's being done to improve upon that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an issue that has been raised, and it's one of those more difficult issues in terms of how we do our engagements. I know we've been planning skills events and events out in the community to engage those people. But as I say, we've got live reporting related to this. So if that comes forward, if we are engaging those people, we're not engaging those people, it'll come through via our mechanisms and we'll work out plans. I think Sinead wanted to add something onto this.
Just to say that we are coming back to the Labour Policy Group on the 15th of October with a detailed plan which covers economically inactive and South Asian women in a lot more detail to go through with you. Picks up the work that we're doing following the funding on Connect to Work, which picks up work and health, and then the plan that we're doing on Get Britain Working locally as well. So hopefully that will cover that. And we were also going to be picking up NEETs and the work that we're doing with young people through Paul Wagstaff and the education team.
Okay, Bassett. Gulam?
Thank you, Hazel. And I'd like to thank Councillor Taylor and Sinead for this really good work. And I really like the evidence base that you went and the extent you've gone to. I mean, some of that was really positive, where Luton has got one of the fastest growing economies in the last 5 years and the second fastest outside London. And we're looking at a potential £5 billion investment going forward over the next few years. The issue is, what I read there was, that's not filtered through to everybody. And I think one of the key things in the strategy is making sure that filters through to everybody and everybody can benefit the future developments that are happening. But it's looking positive and it's looking good. But the issue I've got, this is a 7-year strategy, and I can see you've got some KPIs there. Have you built in some time to actually review it, maybe halfway through or in the 2 or 3 years, to see how we're doing? Because we know things can change quite quickly. We're in a volatile situation with our economy. So what have you built in terms of review processes while you go along on this 7-year strategy?
So, as you said, we have the action plan for real-time monitoring. It also reports into the Economic Growth Board as well, that will be monitoring and making sure we're achieving those KPIs, and be reported to members as well. We obviously have our own internal review bodies in overview and scrutiny. You can ask to take a look at this anytime. And I agree with your point around making sure economic growth reaches all parts of our town, and I think that skills strategy is absolutely essential to doing that, making sure we can build the economy we want in the future, but we need our people to fill it, so we need to make sure they're skilled and ready to do that, and so that's going to be an absolute core next part of the delivery. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Yes, David.
And thank you, Councillor Taylor, for the economic growth policy. I think in between, before we get to 2040, it's very important that the great, wonderful job that we're doing about, or the team has been doing to arrange all these work, the job events and all that is great. Do we have any measure of how many people got a job? Because when I looked at the corporate I saw our unemployment rate in Luton has gone up and we've got the highest. So what are they yielding? The job fairs that we do, they're fabulous and I think they're very well attended, but what are they actually yielding in terms of employment? Because the numbers in the corporate report don't show that.
That one sort of filters into Councillor Hussein's portfolio, so I'll hand over to Sinead to answer that one.
Well, can we get that an answer sent out? Sinead?
In terms of what's the report that we're going to bring to Labour Policy Group on the 15th of October, we'll go in a lot more detail around the job fairs that we've held over the last 12 months, the successes we've had, tying in with the Vauxhall Task Force response work as well, and then what we plan going forward. So you'll see some of that outputs and then how we're working on outcomes as well. So you can see a real difference there.
Okay, thank you. David?
A comment rather than a question.
Okay.
I've had a couple of meetings with officers because Liberal Democrat members are a bit concerned that the limited land availability that we have for employment development, more and more of it is being actually taken up with warehouse developments, and warehouses actually don't employ very many people. So it's great to see the investment coming into the town, but we would prefer, if possible, to see it actually this precious employment land being taken up by development that employs a lot more people than warehouses usually do.
Did you want to come back on that, James?
Just to say, we're responding to the actual real economy that exists. And I know people have an idea about warehousing, but it is increasingly more important, and they're not just warehouses for storage anymore. They are often companies' headquarters as well, because they have less real estate on sort of high streets, anything like that. Most of the bulk of